Hello everyone, we are Team36 and we are here to introduce you on our CF, our digital therapy for pediatric obsessive compulsive disorder. And this is that one, an 8-year-old schoolgirl. Let's jump into her daily life. She hates touching the doorknob because it looks so dirty on her eyes. She can't use the public restroom and washes her hands very often. So she went to hospital and was diagnosed with OCD. She tried medicine, but it caused her some side effects. She also tried some cognitive behavioral therapy and ICBT with her therapist, but over time, everything went back to square one and she still had fears of contamination. And since most of the treatments were for adults, it was difficult for her to understand the treatment itself. Then, what should she do? Well, in order to cover all those unmet needs, we came up with a motion sensing game treatment especially designed for children. Those are the benefits patients can get. Our mission is to develop an OCD treatment that can be used fairly and equally by all children, regardless of whether they have high or low access to medical care. Let any OCD come. We will become a company that fights with children who are afraid and worried at this most important time of their life, which can lead to lifelong illness.
Our game makes use of a CBT treatment protocol for children and adolescents called Ride Up and Down the Worry Hill, suggested by Irene Wagner. RIDE is the 4-step acronym for Rename, Insist, Defy, and Enjoy, designed to simplify ERP for children and foster endurance of anxiety until habituation takes place. When the game starts, there is a witch who curses young children to wash their hands very often. This is the very first step of our treatment, personifying OCD thoughts as unrealistic and distinct from the child's rational self. The child runs into a fairy while rushing through the restroom. The fairy asks the child to rename or give a silly nickname to the witch. This helps children externalize the OCD in a fun way. After the rename, the fairy assures the child that the witch need not be heard or followed. This fosters a shift in the child's attitude from passive acquiescence to active assertion. Now the child insists that he is in charge and not the witch, and this builds the self-confidence and endurance that he needs to face the exposure. Then the child encounters exposure situations, starting with the least anxiety-provoking situation. He grabs a doorknob, picks up a public object like a chalkboard eraser, enters a public restroom, and trashes a used object in the school cafeteria. In each situation, the child defies what the OCD tells him to do, to wash his hands very often. This repeated exposure and habituation of anxiety is to make the child's fear less troublesome. The final step allows the child to enjoy his success and take credit for his effort and courage. After each quest is completed, he is rewarded with keys and compliments to help build his self-confidence. Finally, he tells the witch that he will not listen to her anymore and uses his keys to defeat the witch. Now, let's go a little deeper into the system of our game. Our game is designed as an adjuvant therapy between the weekly CBT sessions, having the advantage of being able to do it on a daily basis. Also, we decided to provide our game with a motion detection game console to maximize the effect of exposure response prevention and add a little twinkle to the fun. Now inside the game, a new card will be given to the user after each quest. With this card, the user can decorate his or her character or buy a new item. Not only can the users get items from the card, but they can also give and receive gifts and warm messages to each other, encouraging them that you are not alone in fighting your OCD. We thought the game might be too exciting, and maybe children would like to play the game all day. So we decided to develop an application for the parents along with the game. Using the application we made, parents are able to monitor the progress and achievements of their child, carry out online surveys, and provide us with feedback to continuously update and renew the game. They can also form a community to talk about their child and get support and advice from other parents who have children with OCD. The report from the child sessions will be sent to the parents via application. It is important for them to give the children full support and lots of compliments for their effort and courage, even if the child was not able to push through the end. This will help build their self-confidence and ultimately overcome the disorder.
We decided to target 5 to 10 years old elementary school OCD patients in the US market, and here are some reasons why. First of all, the existence of a precedent FDA-approved DTX and regulatory legislation and availability of SAMD guidelines are for legal reasons. Not only that, in the US, about 500,000 children suffer from OCD. This means about 1 in 200 children. And as you all know, as COVID-19 became a game changer, pediatric OCD is especially on the increase and getting worse. Let us explain our target market in 10 cents. Total available market will be the entire pediatric OCD patients in the United States, which adds up to $209 million US. Serviceable available market will be the mild to moderate OCD patients of age 5 to 10, which will add up to about 27% of total market, $57 million US. Our short-term share of market will be 9% of the local clinics that favorably accept our DTX, being $5.2 million. After achieving the serviceable obtainable market goal, we will ultimately proceed to cover the entire. Those companies are our competitors. As you can see from this graph, we are the only company that makes OCD treatments to cure children with game tools. Reinforcing this strength, we designed the game that has children's perspective so they could accept it as play rather than being treated.
Next, let's talk about marketing plan. Here's a lean canvas for our business model. The problems with conventional OCD treatment are as follows. To solve these problems, we prepared the following as solutions. First, we conceived the game in the form of a story game for children. Second, we developed software and devices that can be used every day at home as an adjuvant therapy concept for CBT. Third, we made the progress of treatment into a data so that both medical staff and parents could check it. Our company's unique value is that children are no longer afraid of treatment and can take it as a fun game, so it can increase the treatment effect. It is first in class and has the advantage of being able to persuade hospitals by securing more clinical information than competitors. The key indicators are sales rate and market share. In addition, treatment effect and parental reviews can also be major indicators. Then, how to marketing our digital therapeutics. We've come up with a marketing plan like this for our business model. There are two main ways. First, we have to convince the hospital to deliver our game to patients. Second, we'll try to make patients feel familiar and connected to the community. The first hospital we'll target is a local clinic that treats many children in need of a counseling or CBT. In the case of local clinic, it has a low barrier compared to university hospital, so we can introduce our game quickly. To convince the local clinic, we try to emphasize these points. First, digital therapeutics may be unfamiliar, so we'll persuade them through the treatment effects of existing similar SAMDs. Second, emphasizing that it is a cutting-edge technology. We'll appeal to the fact that our game have a positive effect on hospital reputation. Third, we'll emphasize that using our game is convenient and useful to manage patients. Then, how will university hospitals? We'll sign a clinical trial agreement with a tertiary or higher medical institution. We are trying to become a clinical trial partner by conducting phase 2-3 stage together. This has the advantage that doctors can directly observe the efficacy. We'll secure case study data and real-world evidence while conducting clinical trials and organize side effects and exceptions that may occur during clinical trial as data. We try to increase our familiarity through this method. We try to promote it through campaigns like the hashtag challenge. It will be posted on social media a lot and it will be able to attract people's attention. And we are going to create an in-app community where patients playing this game can interact with each other. We'll also actively receive feedback from users so that we can reflect them right away. Here are the marketing channels that we can use. Among these, the part we'll focus on is the website. When we received actual user reviews through the application, we'll select them and post them on the website. Through this, we are trying to appeal to parents of children who have OCD but have not yet started treatment. We also have our website featuring interviews with prominent experts, demonstrating the laws of our game and trying to appeal that it is medically effective.
Our game will be on the market through the following process: R&D, IRB, POC start, pivotal start, and 510 case submission. This is the plan. We categorize R&D, clinical, production, marketing based on the previous process and market size. Additionally, because we don't have professional knowledge of motion sensing and control, we plan to reduce R&D budget and costs to patients through a strategic collaboration with home video game console companies such as Nintendo. There are 4 ways to raise the funds. First of all, we will increase the chances of clinical trial passage and reduce the time. And then, we will get some funding from government by applying the National Science Foundation seed funds and their investors and investment institutions by transferring technology to research company. Also, we will distribute company shares to individual investors by IPO. Next, our monetization strategy is to sell them directly to local clinics and big hospitals. The initial price of our product will be $420 and the expected annual sales volume would be $12,300, which will generate a revenue of $5.1 million in the first year. And we plan to invest our business after we recover initial investment within 2 years. Now, this is the SWOT of our game. First, the strength of our game is applicable in home by using console and monitoring our application. Second, the weakness of our game is low prescription expected for a few years. Third, the opportunities of our game are increase of interest in pediatric OCD and establishment of SMD-related regulation. Finally, the threat of our game is difficult to persuade conservative hospitals. With 4 factors, our company devises 4 strategies to maximize profits. SEOUL strategy is advertisement and using application among public of high children population. ST strategies are creating interactive mode with therapists or parents at home. And we will develop the therapist guide mode in case child comes panic or loses direction while playing alone. WO strategies are the fast market entry and securing market share through best-in-class of research. Plus, we will get government support and investment. WT strategies are medical reimbursement and agreements with console company for price competitive. After initial entrance into the market, we will expand our target age to 12 or older and create a different version of them which will utilize real devices. And since OCD has a wide range of symptoms, we are going to release other themes as well as existing ones. We are also planning to create algorithm for customized therapy by using AI. Currently, children are suffering and staying away from OCD. Like a mask, our company wants to make OCD become familiar to children and help them to overcome the disease by themselves. Thank you for listening to our presentation.